would not be alone if you thought this government had been all at sea of late, but events last week have shown it could be rapidly heading for the rocks if it fails to tackle two crucial issues. The asylum-seeking fiasco was damaging enough for the government, regularly fueled by pictures of migrants setting off from the French coast, often in flimsy boats held together with rope or tape and powered by spluttering engines. Almost every day last week more than 1,000 migrants arrived, and there were also reports of some paying the ultimate price and drowning in the channel. Ask any Conservative MP and they immediately, and nervously, accept this is a story that has the much-feared cut-through. That means, in simple terms, it sears through the usual self-obsessed, dreary, navel-gazing that plagues Westminster and its many weird inhabitants. It hits people where they live, not least in this instance because it radically affects how people live. With reliable estimates suggesting more than 3 million people have come to this country legally and illegally since 2000, in many cities and towns the impact has been felt in A&E waiting rooms with longer queues, in crowded classrooms and in a chronic shortage of housing, because not enough accommodation was built for the sudden jump in population. And every day over the past couple of weeks, voters have seen journalists watch scores of migrants leave the French coast and then call their colleagues to make sure they're present when the migrants set foot in Kent. In many cases the arrivals are smiling and waving as they land, and that enrages some who see them as adding to those queues and increasing the already bloated welfare spending. Nothing is done and no one tries to stop them. As if that wasn't toxic enough, add in the events from last Sunday and the good ship Boris Johnson appears close to being torpedoed. The Liverpool Poppy Day hospital bomber was a failed asylum seeker who had had his bid to stay in this country rejected in 2014. So for 7 years an inept and incompetent Home Office deportation system was unable to get him out of the country. In part this appears to be due to what's called gaming the system. In the case of the bomber, Ahmad al-Swalmin, he went down the well-trodden path of claiming to have converted to Christianity, which meant he could say he faced possible imprisonment or even death if he were to return to his native Iraq. Just months after having his application turned down, al-Swalmin took a 5-week course to convert to Christianity. It is noteworthy that when he was baptized a Christian at Liverpool Anglican Cathedral in 2015, he was one of 200 asylum seekers who had adopted the faith over a few preceding years. He's also not the first Christian convert to turn terrorist. Last year Khairi Sodallah killed 3 people in a park in Reading a year after finding Christianity. He twice failed to get asylum in 2012. I've known a lot of Christians and I can't imagine any of them thinking that blowing up a hospital with mothers and babies inside was a good way to spend a Sunday. The numbers tell their own story. Around 30,000 applicants have been waiting more than a year for a decision on asylum claims. Another 58,000 have yet to get an initial verdict. Migrants are arriving in this country at an unprecedented rate. At least 24,000 have come this year, around 3 times the figure from last year. Only 5 have been returned to mainland Europe. As the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, says, the system is a complete merry-go-round. Here's a final number then, 80. That's the size of the Conservative majority. So why not do something with it, other than defend sleaze, and put in decisive controls that take swift decisions with tough time limits on anyone seeking to enter the country?